I believe, we have much more to fear from evangelicals than we do from liberals. Who are liberals? They deny the six-day creation. They deny that Ellen White has any authority over our lives today. They promote things like gay rights in our country, various other things. But evangelicals, they're so much like us. They believe in the authority of the Bible, Jesus soon coming. They believe that we need to have a better society in America, just like we do. They're so much like us. Evangelicals, who share some of our values, are the ones today who are joining with honest Catholics and forming bodies to present a new political movement in our country. They are the ones who are going to legislate morality. They are the ones who are going to break down the separation of church and state, not the liberals, the conservative evangelicals. They are opposed to abortion, as we are. They are opposed to homosexuality. They emphasize the Ten Commandments. They are used to getting Christians elected in positions of power. They like conservative radio and media, just like we do. There are so many similarities. Conservative evangelicals are in the forefront to bring about the union of church and state, which will result in forming the image of the beast and enforcing the mark of the beast. And conservative Adventists are increasingly sympathetic to those political views. What is the Adventist position again? Let's be really, really sure. Thought inspiration, full authority of Scripture. For salvation, both justification and sanctification are needed. Prophecy, consistent method of salvation throughout history. One method of salvation, only by grace, through faith, always and forever, never by obedience to a law. Israel not significant in any final application of prophecy. Creation, six-day creation, short-age earth. Second coming, a literal return, no secret rapture. And the millennium will not be spent here on earth. It will be spent in heaven. Truth and society, religious freedom is for all, equally, all. And truth is promoted only by persuasion, never by legislation, never by persecution. That's the Adventist position as I understand it. That's what we believe as Seventh-day Adventists. How will the Lamb ever speak as a dragon? Here is what I want to share with you just briefly. Great controversy is the clearest definition of what happens in our future, in our immediate future. Pages 443 to 445 and 592. Protestant churches that have followed in the steps of Rome by forming an alliance with worldly powers have manifested a similar desire to restrict liberty of conscience. So Protestant churches, notice, not Protestant authorities, not Protestant leaders, not Protestant Supreme Court people, not Protestant presidents, Protestant churches that have followed in the steps of Rome by forming alliance with worldly powers have manifested a similar desire to restrict liberty of conscience, because we're going to get it right. We're going to do it right this time. So, apostasy in the church will prepare the way for the image to the beast. Not apostasy in the nation, apostasy in the church. Follow these things carefully. You can read them for yourself in great controversy. It is church decisions that are involved here. The Bible declares that before the coming of the Lord there will exist a state of religious declension similar to that in the first centuries, when they lost their first love. You remember that? Before the coming of the Lord, a state of religious declension in our time today. But there has been for years in churches of the Protestant faith a strong and growing sentiment in favor of a union based upon common points of doctrine, things that we can agree on, things that we can have unity on. Ignore the things that are so distinct that they can't be put together at all. Ignore whether their salvation comes by a faith and belief in Jesus Christ personally, or whether it comes by attendance at a Mass every Sunday. Just ignore those things. Come to the points of common doctrine and work together on those issues. Ignore everything else. To secure such a union, the discussion of subjects upon which all were not agreed, however important they might be from a Bible standpoint, such as how salvation works, must necessarily be waived. Don't worry about those things that you can't agree on. Just work on what you can agree on. The ministry of the evangelical Protestant denominations is not only formed all the way up under a tremendous pressure of merely human fear, but they live and move and breathe in a state of things radically corrupt and appealing every hour to every baser element of their nature to hush up the truth and bow the knee to the power of apostasy. We haven't seen the full fulfillment of that one yet. That's still coming in its full power. We're seeing parts of it, but it's coming in full power to bow the knee to the power of apostasy. Notice all of those things, all of them have to do with current situations that we're talking about today. One more. When the leading churches of the United States, uniting upon such points of doctrine as are held by them in common, when they shall influence the state to enforce their decrees and to sustain their institutions, then Protestant America will have formed an image of the Roman hierarchy, and the infliction of civil penalties upon dissenters will inevitably result. Please notice that very carefully. The image of the beast hasn't been formed yet, not here in the United States. It's going to take something distinct to make that happen. And that is going to come from our religious friends, not from our political opponents or supporters. It's going to come from those who believe similar teachings to us about religion and faith. And that's where the decision will come. So the image to the beast is like the beast. That's the key point. It is a religious organization. It has authority to enact religious laws. It will become a likeness of the Roman power, which will allow the Roman power to come into full existence once again, here even in our country. The image to the beast. It represents that form of apostate Protestantism which will be developed when the Protestant churches shall seek the aid of the civil power for the enforcement of their dogmas. When the Protestant churches, notice that, not the Catholic Church. It will not be centered by the Catholic Church. That might be seen in Europe, South America, and other places. But in the United States, it will be the Protestant churches that develop as they seek the power of the civil government. And one more, political corruption is destroying love of justice and regard for truth, and even in free America. Please notice that very carefully. Not in tyrannical America. In free America, rulers and legislators, in order to secure public favor, will yield, not initiate, will yield to the popular demand for a law enforcing Sunday observance. A Sunday law is not going to be done in secret. A Sunday law will not be done behind closed doors. A Sunday law will be demanded by people who are fearful of their existence, that we can no longer exist unless we get God back in the center of everything we do. How in the world, have you thought about it? How in the world can Sunday be freed from political football, from the games that we are involved in? How in the world will people ever say, we'll give up all of this, we'll give up all the fun on Sunday, and we will go back to church? We will make that happen. Have you ever thought about how drastic it will take the whole country's will to be submitted to the will of its political leaders on those points? Please notice again, all of this comes from our religious friends. It does not come from our political friends. They will yield. Free America will yield to the pressure of the people demanding Sunday legislation. And it's going to take a while. I don't think it's going to be done quickly. This is going to take a debate in Congress. Who knows how long it will take? I have no idea. How long it will take before a whole country gives up its freedom to do whatever it wants to do and go back to church, every single one of us, on every single Sunday for the rest of time.